Well, hi everybody, welcome to Afterburner. I'm Bill Whittle. You know, I got a new sports car a while ago. I just love it to death. And by some miracle, I'd managed to avoid getting a ticket for overly enthusiastic driving until last Friday. I was a little late for a meeting and I was heading up the hill on Lincoln Boulevard when a motorcycle cop pointed to me, yes me, and then to the curb, and then to me again, and then to the curb again. Okay, got it. So I pulled over, and I'd heard from somewhere that policemen feel more at ease if you roll your window down and put your hands on the steering wheel where they can see them. This makes sense to me. Must be pretty tough walking up to a car several times an hour, wondering if someone's going to look up and either hand you a driver's license or blow your head off. So I said good afternoon, and I handed him my driver's license. He said good afternoon, and he took it. He asked me if I was the registered owner of the car. I said yes. He asked if I knew why he pulled me over, and I said because I was going too fast coming up that hill. He showed me the speed gun showing a 60 and a 45 zone. I apologized. I said it was entirely my fault. And then he asked why I didn't have a tag on the front of the car. I produced the tag and I told him I didn't have the bracket for it. He said, well, I'm glad you have the tag. Now I can just write you a fix-it ticket for the tag and I won't have to write you up for speeding. I'll be right back. And back he went. And when he came back, I said, Officer, thank you. You didn't have to do that. That was very kind. I have a clean driving record, and thanks for letting me keep it that way. He said, well, we do our best. And then as I was handing the signed ticket back, he said, you know, if I had a car like this, I'd be speeding too. And I said, well, I test drove the 8-cylinder version, and I knew if I got that, I'd be getting a speeding ticket an hour. And he laughed and he said, you be very careful pulling back into that traffic now. And I said, I will. You be safe out there. And he thanked me. And as I pulled back into the traffic, I waved. I kind of felt silly about it. It was just more of a reflex than anything. And I looked in my mirror, and he waved back. And I thought, right then and there, I'm going to write about this. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say that this good treatment was due to my white skin privilege and all the rest of that, maybe. Or maybe, the good treatment was due to me showing concern for the officer's safety and having a cheerful and friendly demeanor. And maybe, just maybe, I got a break that day because I didn't start the transaction by lying through my teeth at the man, and instead I chose to accept responsibility for the multiple facts that I had in fact broken the law and that he was in fact doing his job and his duty to enforce the law that I had broken. I was civil with him, you see, and in return he was civil with me. Now maybe that had something to do with it. And this mutual civility has nothing to do with skin color. It just doesn't. Because the very next day, I was at my favorite fast food place on the face of the planet, Chick-fil-A. Let me tell you two interesting things about that particular Chick-fil-A down in South Los Angeles. First of all, that staff is so multicultural, I thought I was in a jeans commercial. Blacks, whites, Asians, Latinos, everything. Second, the condiment area in that restaurant is immaculate. It's always immaculate. People are pulling napkins and mayonnaise and salt and straws out of that thing nonstop, but they keep it in order. And that Chick-fil-A restaurant is a very popular place. And everybody there hustles, and everybody there smiles, and everybody there asks how you are, and they seem to mean it. And they bring your food to your table, and they come by your table to ask if you want a drink refill, and the tables are spotless. And so not only is the staff so decent and civil and friendly, the customers actually rise to the occasion. Never, ever have I seen so many doors held open, so many random good afternoons among strangers, so many people saying, no, after you. Now that has nothing to do with the race of the people and everything to do with their attitudes. One woman who works there is named Deborah. She's simply as sweet and as helpful as she can be. So after I'd had lunch, I asked to speak to the manager. And when he came out, I told him that my father had been a hotel manager, that I grew up in hotels, and that cleanliness, courtesy, and excellence come from the top down. But mostly, I told him that Deborah was an exceptional asset to his restaurant and that she deserved a promotion and a raise. Now, he told me how proud he was of Deborah and what a blessing she was to everyone there. He thanked me for my kindness and my support, and as I turned to go, he did something that knocked the wind out of me. He asked me if I'd do him a personal favor. I said, of course I would. He said, sir, as a loyal customer, as a friend to this restaurant and its staff, I'd like to ask you to hold us to account. If we ever start slipping, if you ever see dirty tables or wait an unreasonable time for your order, I'd like you to come find me again and hold my feet to the fire. I'm real proud of this restaurant, and I'd like you to help me keep things that way. You know, When they opened the first McDonald's in Moscow, the American training staff had a huge problem convincing the locals that service with a smile was not an option. One of the trainees said, "Why do we have to be nice? We have the hamburgers." Now, why should they have to be nice? Their government ran everything, and their government treated them like dirt. A personal transaction, or a fast food restaurant, or a country can be run in many different ways. Civility is a choice. It can be a personal choice, as in the case of that police officer and me, but in anything larger than a fast food restaurant, the choice for civility comes from the top down. This used to be a civil country. I still believe in its heart it remains the most civil place on the earth. And that's the way to live, my friends. And it comes from the top. So, if you ever find that your government is less than civil, if it's spying on you and bullying you and intimidating you based on political or religious beliefs, if it's unresponsive to your needs and is rude and dismissive when you interact with it, and if it spends your money wastefully, well then, it's not your government anymore, is it? And that lack of civility in civil servants comes from the top down too.